JB. I mean, listen, JB is doing, I kind of stopped giving a damn about it a long time ago.
LeBron James has finally spoken about the Jaylen Brown situation for the first time, and his words confirmed what many had long suspected. He never forgot what happened, and he never truly moved on. The timing of his decision to break his silence made the moment even more powerful and unexpected. On February 22, 2026, the Boston Celtics dominated the Los Angeles Lakers at Crypto.com Arena, winning 111-89 in a blowout that left fans stunned. While the loss itself was painful, it was not the final score that captured the attention of the basketball world. Instead, it was LeBron's post-game comments. When asked about his relationship with Jaylen Brown, LeBron did something he had never done publicly before. He addressed the Bronny situation directly, sending shockwaves throughout the NBA. To understand the weight of LeBron's words, it is necessary to go back to the summer of 2024, to a moment many had forgotten but LeBron clearly never did. On July 15, 2024, during an NBA Summer League game in Las Vegas between the Lakers and Celtics, Bronny James was trying to prove he belonged in the league after being selected 55th overall in the NBA draft. Coming off a cardiac arrest scare at USC and a modest college season averaging just 4.8 points per game, Bronny faced intense scrutiny from analysts, fans, and critics across the basketball world. Every move he made was being closely watched, and the pressure surrounding him was enormous. Sitting courtside that night was Jaylen Brown, fresh off winning NBA Finals MVP and leading the Celtics to a championship. He was accompanied by WNBA stars Kaiser Gondrezick and Angel Reese. During the game, cameras captured Brown turning to Gondrezick and making comments that would later ignite controversy. Although there was no official audio, lip readers analyzed the footage and concluded that Brown appeared to say he did not believe Bronny was a professional-level basketball player. Gondrezick seemed to agree, suggesting that Bronny would likely end up in the G League. Brown then appeared to add that Bronny would remain with the Lakers primarily because of his last name, a remark that cut deeply and sparked widespread debate.
It is. Jaylen Brown, man. NBA Finals MVP Jaylen Brown.
This was not a comment made by a random podcaster or a retired player sitting behind a desk. It came directly from the reigning NBA Finals MVP. Jaylen Brown looked at LeBron James' son during that Summer League game, where Bronny scored just 4 points on 2 of 9 shooting, and told the people sitting beside him that the kid did not belong. Coming from someone at the very top of the basketball world, the statement carried enormous weight and instantly changed how the moment was viewed, turning a simple observation into a headline-making controversy.
That means he had a front row view of one of the most talked about players in the NBA right now, Bronny James, the son of now teammate.
The clip spread across the internet like wildfire, racking up millions of views within hours. Every major sports outlet picked up the story, and soon the entire basketball world was locked in debate. Some believed Jaylen Brown had crossed a line, questioning whether it was appropriate to publicly judge a young player so harshly. Others argued that he was simply being honest, saying out loud what many were already thinking. The controversy quickly became one of the hottest topics in sports media, dividing fans, analysts, and players alike.
Gondrezick, a former WNBA player, and gave an assessment of the younger James's play.
The very next morning, on July 16th, Brown took to social media to address the controversy. In a post on X, he wrote that it was a flex to have your son alongside you in the NBA, calling it a reflection of greatness and longevity. He added that Bronny had all the tools around him to succeed and said he looked forward to watching his growth. While some fans viewed the message as a sincere clarification and show of support, others saw it as simple damage control from someone who had been caught saying something he never intended the public to hear.
Brown appears to say, and I quote, "I don't think Bronny is a pro." Gondrezick appears to respond in our part.
What made the situation so complicated was that Brown was not entirely wrong, and that truth is what made his comments sting even more. Bronny was a second-round pick with modest college numbers who was still recovering from a serious medical episode. Long before Brown ever spoke, dozens of analysts had already questioned whether Bronny would have been drafted at all if not for his famous last name. The argument that he landed on the Lakers roster largely because of his father had been circulating for months, which made the controversy even harder to dismiss.
Says, "I think he'll be in the G League for sure." Brown appears to reply in part, and I quote, "Because of his name, he's going to be with the Lakers."
Over on Gil's Arena, the reaction was exactly what you would expect. Gilbert Arenas and his team analyzed the situation from every possible angle, weighing the context, the timing, and the impact of Brown's words. Their consensus was that, while the delivery may have been harsh, Brown was entitled to his opinion. Even if it wasn't expressed in the most tactful way, the sentiment behind it reflected a perspective shared by many observers in the basketball world.
This is
wild.
like, if he did say it, y'all lip reading. Okay, cool. But
Yeah, had a camera on.
The panel made a crucial observation. Brown was not addressing the public, holding a press conference, or posting on social media. He was simply having what he believed to be a private conversation with the people sitting next to him. The problem was that a camera happened to be pointed in his direction, capturing his words for the entire world to see. This context, the panel argued, added nuance to the situation and helped explain why the comments, while controversial, were not necessarily meant as a public attack.
so I'm pretty sure he thinks that way about some other guys.
Yeah. And as I mentioned before, private, not necessarily private.
That is the reality of being an NBA superstar in the modern era. There is no such thing as a private conversation when you are sitting courtside at a nationally televised event. Every word you speak, every expression on your face, every gesture is recorded, analyzed, and dissected by millions of people. Jaylen Brown learned that lesson the hard way. But perhaps the most significant reaction in the saga was the one that never came. LeBron James said absolutely nothing. Not a word, not a tweet, not even a subtle Instagram story. For 18 months, the King remained silent on the Jaylen Brown situation, and in the NBA, silence from LeBron carries more weight than any press conference ever could. Everyone who knows him understands one fundamental truth. He never forgets. He keeps every receipt, files it away, and waits for the perfect moment to reveal it. That moment finally arrived on February 22, 2026. The Celtics had just handed the Lakers a 22-point blowout, and the post-game press conference should have been about the game itself. Boston was playing elite basketball despite losing key players, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, and Kristaps Porzingis, essentially rebuilding their championship core from scratch. Yet they were still competing at the highest level, largely because Jaylen Brown was having the season of his life. By February 2026, Brown was averaging 29, 3 points, 6, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists per game while shooting 48.3% from the field. He had earned his 5th All-Star selection and was single-handedly keeping the Celtics relevant in a season where most had written them off. So, when a reporter asked LeBron about Brown's season and their relationship, the expectation was a standard diplomatic response. Praise the opponent, stay classy, and move on. For a moment, LeBron did exactly that, acknowledging Brown's incredible year and giving him credit for stepping up.
Them afloat, they playing great basketball, and it's because of him and the rest of those guys. He's taking that next step.
LeBron continued by praising how the Celtics had stayed competitive despite their setbacks, directly crediting Brown for keeping the team afloat. He highlighted how Brown had taken all the doubt, all the skepticism, and turned it into fuel for his performance, using it to elevate not only his own game but the team's as well.
Our relationship has been, pretty respectful. Besides the shit he said about Bronny at Summer League.
Then came the pivot, the moment that transformed a routine post-game answer into the most talked-about soundbite of the entire 2025 to 2026 NBA season. LeBron's tone shifted, his expression hardened, and the words he had been holding back for 18 months finally came out, revealing the weight and intention behind his long silence.
Other than that, we've been all right,
We guys able to get past that?
We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Yeah, we'll be all right.
And then it happened. After a year and a half of complete silence, LeBron James looked directly into the cameras and made it clear that he had never forgotten what Jaylen Brown had said about his son. Not for a single second. The room erupted with energy as reporters immediately pressed him, asking whether he and Brown had been able to move past the incident.
I think he went on social media and said something about it. It's all good, but Ronnie got a long way to go, but that's another story. So.
Pay close attention to the way LeBron said it. We'll be all right. He repeated the phrase 3 times, and with each repetition, it sounded less convincing than the one before. This was not a man who had truly moved on. Instead, he was signaling that he was choosing to be the bigger person while making it clear that the wound from Brown's words was still very much open. LeBron then turned to address Brown's social media response from 2024, the post in which Brown had attempted to clean up his comments by praising LeBron's longevity and Bronny's potential.
But the kid, listen, JB is doing shit. He's playing great basketball, man, and you can't fault this out on, this whole MVP thing.
That last part was what really stood out. LeBron acknowledged that Bronny still has a long way to go, but he didn't pretend his son was already an all-star, nor did he get defensive about the criticism itself. What truly bothered LeBron was not the opinion on Bronny's game, it was who said it and how it was said. There is a clear difference between an analyst breaking down a player's weaknesses on television and a fellow NBA player whispering about your kid to his companions courtside while your son is out there competing. Yet, despite all of that, and despite the fact that he had clearly neither forgotten nor fully forgiven, LeBron did something remarkable. He pivoted back to praising Brown's basketball, giving credit where it was due.
I understand why his name is not getting talked about some as well. Like, nobody gave them a shot to start the season. And he's having what
LeBron was far from finished. He went even further, making a compelling case for Brown as the league's most valuable player and questioning why the media was not giving him the recognition he deserved for the outstanding season he was having. His words weren't just praise, they were a statement, a public acknowledgement of Brown's dominance and a challenge to those who had underestimated him.
You feel like he could be MVP?
Last question.
I mean, that's not for me. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the criteria of MVP anymore.
When a reporter directly asked if he thought Brown could win MVP, LeBron gave a response that was pure LeBron. Measured, deliberate, and the kind of answer that says everything while saying almost nothing. It was a statement loaded with meaning, leaving everyone in the room reading between the lines and feeling the weight of his long-held perspective.
I kind of stopped giving a damn about it a long time.
When pressed on whether Brown deserved the league's highest individual honor, LeBron made it clear that he had his own complicated history with the MVP award. His response hinted at layers of experience and perspective, suggesting that while he could recognize Brown's brilliance, he also understood the weight, politics, and scrutiny that come with such accolades.
So actually, Bronny might play better once the season starts because he'll be going against the same person every day.
It's history. They all do.
It was a response that said everything without actually saying anything at all. LeBron was not about to campaign for anyone, because in his mind, the entire MVP process had lost its credibility long ago. His words carried the weight of experience, signaling both respect for Brown and a subtle critique of the system that determines basketball's top honors.
You know,
Do y'all know Trae Young's shooting percentage? 4 for 26 from the three-point line. Jaylen Brown.
The post from Hoop Central on X featuring the clip exploded overnight. Within hours, it had amassed 67 million views, 7,000 likes, 4,000 reposts, and over 5,000 bookmarks. The basketball internet was in a complete frenzy, with takes coming in from every direction. On one side, LeBron defenders praised him for standing up for his son. Users like SM Highlights One argued that LeBron was simply protecting his family, earning nearly 4,000 likes. Lucro added that no father could be expected to ignore someone speaking negatively about his child, and countless other accounts echoed the sentiment that LeBron keeps receipts, suggesting he had been waiting for this very moment to let Brown know the comment had never been forgotten. On the other side, a significant portion of fans sided with Brown. Solden Batweets questioned whether doubting Bronny's readiness even qualified as disrespect, earning over 2,000 likes. 30 Problems pointed out that Brown had been correct, given that Bronny had spent much of his time in the G League. Users like Spain PNR were more direct, arguing that if LeBron was going to be sensitive to honest criticism, he should not have pushed for his son to be drafted. The debate raged because both sides had legitimate points. Jaylen Brown's original comment was factually defensible. As of February 2026, Bronny James had appeared in just 29 Lakers games, averaging roughly 2.3 points per game in limited minutes. His G League numbers were more encouraging, averaging 15.5 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 4.8 assists per game across 6 appearances with South Bay, including a 17.7 rebound performance against the Texas Legends on February 22, 2026, where he shot 7 of 14 from the field. While these flashes of potential were promising, the reality remained that Bronny was still very much a developmental project, and Brown's 2024 assessment had largely been accurate. Beyond clicks and hot takes, the LeBron-Brown exchange reignited a broader debate that had simmered under the surface of the NBA for years. Nepotism, who deserves to be in the league and why, and whether being the son of one of the greatest players of a generation is ultimately a blessing or a curse. This debate unfolded in real time across every platform imaginable. Gil's Arena had already laid the groundwork for this conversation back in July 2024 when they analyzed the original Brown clip and made a key point. The pressure placed on Bronny James was fundamentally unfair, as no second-round pick had ever been scrutinized to this degree. The panel drew comparisons that helped put the situation into perspective, showing how unique and challenging Bronny's path truly was.
He was the third pick in the NBA draft. The third pick in the NBA draft. The first 3 games, just like Bronny was 6 for 26.
Then came the statistic that briefly silenced the debate. If you wanted to talk about summer league struggles, the numbers had to be examined fairly, without exaggeration or bias. Context mattered, and the data showed that while Bronny had faced challenges, the reality of his performance could not be dismissed outright.
Jaylen Brown was 5 for 26 from the field in his first 3 games in summer league.
Yeah.
He's fine.
That's right, Jaylen Brown himself, the same man who had once said he didn't think Bronny was a professional, had a summer league debut that looked remarkably similar. The irony was not lost on fans and analysts alike, highlighting how early struggles are often part of the path for even the league's top talents.
He was the third pick in the NBA draft and no one put any pressure on it.
The panel highlighted a critical difference. When Jaylen Brown struggled in summer league as a top 3 pick, nobody questioned whether he belonged in the NBA. His draft status and reputation insulated him from the same scrutiny that Bronny faced, underscoring the double standard and the added pressure on the son of a superstar.
Is it that easy?
No, it's not that easy.
No, I'm saying. The NBA is hard.
Nobody called Brown a fraud. Nobody suggested he should be sent down. Nobody claimed he had only been drafted for reasons other than his talent. The grace and patience extended to Jaylen Brown as a struggling summer league rookie were never afforded to Bronny James. And the reason was clear: the last name. Comparisons to his father were impossible to escape, creating expectations that no second-round pick in the history of the league had ever been asked to carry. The nepotism argument cuts both ways, and that's what makes it so complicated. On one hand, it's entirely possible that Bronny James would not be on an NBA roster if his last name were anything other than James. His college production at USC did not scream NBA ready, and being selected 55th overall reflected that reality. Many viewed the Lakers' decision as a package deal to keep LeBron happy, and critics have pointed to this from day one. On the other hand, Bronny overcame a cardiac arrest episode that could have ended his career before it even started. He returned to play Division I basketball and has shown legitimate flashes of two-way potential in the G League. His recent stretch of play suggests that there is real talent there, even if it will take time to fully develop. Comparisons to other NBA family members help put things in perspective. The Gills Arena panel highlighted the cases of Chris Smith, brother of J.R. Smith, and Thanasis Antetokounmpo, brother of Giannis, both of whom occupied end-of-roster spots primarily because of family connections. Nobody questioned whether they were professionals, nobody whispered about them courtside, and nobody made it a national story when they received limited minutes in blowout games. At the end of the day, the 15th man on an NBA roster exists in a strange limbo. Technically a professional, yet rarely called upon to prove it on the court. The NBA is hard. That is the fundamental truth that often gets lost in all this discourse. Every player on every roster earns something to get there, whether through raw talent, work ethic, connections, or some combination of all three. And Bronny James, for all the criticism he receives, is out there every day working to get better. His G League numbers have been trending upward, his defensive instincts have drawn praise from coaches, and at just 21 years old, he has time on his side. What made LeBron's February 2026 comments so fascinating was not the shot at Jaylen Brown, but the complexity of his position. He simultaneously acknowledged that his son has a long way to go while making it clear that he would not tolerate disrespect from a peer. He praised Brown's game while reminding him that words have consequences. He kept it respectful, but everyone in the room understood one thing: the king does not forget. The media reaction reflected this nuance. TalkSport and Newsweek framed LeBron's response as protective fatherhood, highlighting the emotional dimension of a parent defending his child on a public stage. Mass Live and The Athletic took a more measured approach, noting that LeBron's tone was joking and that the overall relationship between the two players remained respectful. Bleacher Report and Yahoo emphasized the receipt angle, framing LeBron as a player with an elephantine memory who files away every slight and waits for the perfect moment to address it. On Reddit, discussions were even more nuanced. Threads on RNBA and Our Lakers debated whether Brown's original comment was disrespectful or simply an honest assessment shared in what he believed was a private moment. Some users highlighted the irony of LeBron calling the MVP race a popularity contest while simultaneously leveraging his own influence to keep his son on an NBA roster. Others defended LeBron unconditionally, arguing that no parent in any profession would sit quietly while a colleague publicly doubted their child's abilities. As for Jaylen Brown, the man at the center of all the noise, he has said nothing new. His July 2024 social media clarification remains his only public statement, and he has not responded to LeBron's February 2026 comments. Whether that silence represents maturity, indifference, or a strategic choice to avoid escalation is open to interpretation. But what cannot be debated is what Brown has done on the court. His career-high averages of nearly 30 points per game, his fifth All-Star selection, and his leadership of a retooled Celtics roster have made him one of the most valuable players in the league, a fact even LeBron acknowledged during the same press conference where he aired his grievances. The lasting impact of this incident goes beyond basketball. It is a story about how private opinions can become public spectacles in the age of constant surveillance. It is about the impossible standards placed on children of famous parents and the double-edged sword of growing up in the spotlight. And it is about a father, a 41-year-old man who has accomplished more in his sport than almost anyone in history, who still has the capacity to be hurt by something someone said about his kid nearly 2 years ago. Because at the end of the day, LeBron James is not just the all-time leading scorer with over 43,000 career points. He is not just the player who has been to more finals than most franchises. He is a dad. And when someone questions whether your kid belongs, you remember. You file it away. And when the moment comes, you make sure they hear it first. "We will be all right," he said, "but make no mistake, you're going to hear about it first." Well, that's it for this video. But don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more heat for you. Just tap any of the cards on your screen right now and stay locked in.